Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL 2022 draft review, grading the entire first round and really trying to see whether or not these guys lived up to where they were drafted in the first round based off mainly their rookie year, along with a few other, intangible things that I think go into it. So we're boiling it down to one singular letter grade. Each of these players' rookie year, we're going to go from the number 1 overall pick to pick number 16, and then in a second video, I'm going to do pick number 17 to pick number 32. Starting with the number 1 overall pick, it was TRAVON Walker going to Jacksonville. Guys, I'm going to give his grade a D+. Now, we all knew that he was a project, but I don't understand drafting a project with the number 1 overall pick. It is so valuable to have the number 1 overall pick. The sack numbers, we knew they weren't going to be there. We know he needs to develop and really come into his own. So I'll give him a D+. It's just, I didn't like this pick when it happened. I thought they should have went another route or maybe traded out. But it was just kind of a bad year to have the number 1 overall pick. There was no superstar quarterback. At that point, Jacksonville already had Trevor Lawrence, so it would have been a great opportunity if there was a superstar quarterback to trade out of that pick, kind of like the situation Chicago is in right now. But TRAVON Walker is a project. He is developing. He does have a really unique build. He can generate pressures. He's big. He's strong. But the numbers were just not there to really warrant a number 1 overall selection in his rookie year. And we kind of knew that. But if I'm going to grade his rookie year, I'm going to give him a D+ there. Moving on to the number 2 overall pick, Aidan Hutchinson. So Aidan Hutchinson finished the season extremely well, especially against the Packers. I'm going to say either an A- or a B+. So maybe like right at a 90%, borderline really good. Overall, Aidan Hutchinson did have games where he completely disappeared. You're going to get that with any young edge defender, but Aidan Hutchinson looks like he's going to develop into maybe a Max Crosby type pressures machine. Really, really good number 2 overall pick by the Detroit Lions, and really the safest option at that point. So Aidan Hutchinson, really good rookie season. He's not going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, all likely, but still he'll finish 2nd or 3rd, and he finished the season really strong. And again, you're going to have those games as a rookie where you don't generate very many pressures, you don't really do anything, but you're also going to have the games where you show potential, and Hutchinson was able to do that on multiple occasions, especially towards the end of the season. The number 3 overall pick, Derek Stingley Jr., I'm going to give it a C-. And guys, I did not like this pick when Houston made it. I don't like the idea of drafting a cornerback 3rd overall. It's just bad positional value. The big thing with Derek Stingley, the knock on him at LSU was the injury concerns. Now, he basically opted out his junior year because he knew he was going to be a top pick, and he was right, but those injury concerns continued into the NFL, and I know Houston fans are really excited because when he was healthy and on the field, he was good, but with the injury, again, I'm going to knock him down to a C-. I believe he only played in 9 games this season, and it might have been a situation where they just said, you know what, we're going to place you on IR because we're trying to get the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. We're not going to risk anything. There's no reason to bring you back, but he does need to show that he's healthy. Maybe I should bump his grade up to a C because he did play well when he was healthy. I am just concerned about the injuries with him. Moving to number 4, it is Ahmad Gardner or Sauce Gardner. He gets an A. He's very close to an A+, led the entire NFL in pass defenses. They were going to challenge the rookie. They did that, and wow, what a year for him. I would say the only reason he doesn't get an A+ is because, for me, like an A+ would be a Micah Parsons type rookie year. And he was close to it, but he just did not get it. So he will definitely be Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was my CB1 in the pre-draft, and he certainly lived up to it. He's going to be a complete lockdown quarter in the NFL. He got beat a few times. It happens as a rookie. He's got the length. He's got the build. just the overall athleticism to be a superstar defensive back in the NFL. Amazing pick by the Jets at number 4 there with Gardner. At number 5, it is Kayvon Thibodeaux. So I'm going to give this one a B-. He was injured throughout much of the year. If you guys remember, in the preseason, he had a crazy injury scare where it looked like he was for sure going to be out for the year, but then shockingly, he was okay. And in the limited time he did play, he showed significant potential, but he was just injured a lot. So I'm going to go with a B- for Thibodeaux overall as a pass rusher. I think the Giants did a really good job. You know, Hutchinson probably will be better, but when you compare him to Travon Walker, I think he stacks up greatly. In my opinion, I think he will have a way better NFL career than Walker. So Thibodeaux, I'm saying a B-. He was a disruptor when he was out there. His only issue was the injuries. If you really aren't concerned about the injuries, I would probably bump his grade up to like a B+, but he was injured for a lot of the year. The 6th overall pick went to the Carolina Panthers. They picked Ikem Ekwonu. So when it comes to offensive tackles, really, the best thing we can go off of is the PFF grades. And he graded decently, 65. That was his overall grade out of 100, if you guys don't know. So I'm going to say a B+ for Ekwonu. I really liked him. Pre-draft, he was my number 1 overall offensive tackle. And honestly, when it comes to young rookie offensive tackles, or really just offensive linemen in general, you're just hoping for them to flash, and I feel like he did that. He's huge. He should develop into a franchise tackle, which is exactly what you're hoping for with the 6th overall pick. So good pick by Carolina. He's developing. He had a few really bad meltdown games, but you're going to get that. Overall, 70 to 80% of the time, he was good. He was solid. A grade of a 65 is perfectly fine for a rookie, so he gets a B+ from me. The number 7 overall pick, also by the Giants, it is Evan Neal. So with Evan Neal, I'm going to give him a straight just C. You know, he did not grade out very well by PFF. He is young, and he has kind of changed his technique, they were saying. Some of the Giants writers were saying that later in the season where he's seen better results. This was a stud tackle at Alabama. I have all the faith in the world that Evan Neal will be good. So even with that bad grade and struggling as a rookie, I'm going to say his overall outlook is really positive, and I'm giving him a C grade. It wasn't terrible. He was better later into the season. He dealt with a few injuries where he missed some games, but he did end up, I believe, starting 13 total games and playing about 86% of the snaps. So I'm going to say just a straight C. Getting his feet under him. It happens with young offensive tackles. You just want them to show promise and show that they belong in the NFL and show that they can move their feet and be athletic. That's what you're hoping for with young offensive tackles. You're hoping they show you potential. And I feel like Evan Neal has done that. The 8th overall pick, the number 1 receiver off the board, a bigger receiver, more of a possession type guy. It is Drake London from USC going to the Atlanta Falcons, and I really feel bad for Drake London. So I'm going to give him a B-, but I have no clue what Atlanta was doing this season, playing Marcus Mariota for like 13 or 14 games or whatever it is, refusing to go to Desmond Ridder. With Mariota, they were a total run-first offense. There were games where Drake London would get 2 or 3 targets. I don't know how you can develop as a young player getting 2 targets in a game. It's just ridiculous to me. So Drake London, really, it's mainly speculation. I think he's going to be a really good possession receiver in the NFL, similar to what Michael Thomas was, or maybe even Mike Evans. That's kind of his mold. Even like a T. Higgins type guy. So I really do like Drake London. He really didn't get much of a chance because they played Mariota, and it was an extreme run-first offense where they'd run the ball 75% of the time. They finally went to Desmond Ridder, and Drake London had a few really insane catches towards the end of the season. I remember a catch he had in Baltimore against a really good defense that impressed me. He's got a high upside. I'm going to give him a B-. It was a tough situation for him. A lot of it wasn't his fault. Moving to the 9th overall pick, Charles Cross, the big offensive tackle from Mississippi State. So I'm giving him a B+. Very similar type year to Ikem Ekwonu. 64 overall grade according to PFF, which is perfectly fine for a rookie offensive tackle. That's all you're hoping for from Seattle. And Charles Cross, the big question with him was he kind of has a weird build. Would he be able to, use his weight properly? And he really played well. So I like Charles Cross as a future solid tackle in the NFL. If you're drafting him at number 9 overall, that's what you hope he's going to be. He was a former 5-star recruit, and he really lived up to it as a rookie in the NFL. You have a few games where, a few blow-up games like all young players, but overall a 64 in terms of a grade is not bad at all there. The 10th overall pick, Garrett Wilson. I'm going to say A- for Garrett Wilson. So, honestly, it would probably be impossible for Garrett to get an A+. To me, an A+ for a receiver, like for a rookie receiver, would be like a Justin Jefferson type stat line, which just isn't going to happen. You're getting passes from Joe Flacco, Mike White, Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson. The bottom line with him, he's going to be a superstar in the NFL. He has the look. He's going to be a star receiver. You're putting up 1,100 yards as a rookie with those type of QBs. The Jets got themselves a true wide receiver number 1 and a really well, utilized 10th overall pick to pick up Garrett Wilson. The size really isn't an issue. He's tall enough at like 6'1", and he has the look of a future franchise-type receiver. The 11th overall pick, New Orleans, ended up taking Chris Olave, so I'm going to also give him an A-. Very similar stats to Garrett Wilson. Very similar QB situation. Playing with Jameis Winston early on, and then Andy Dalton, also a little sprinkle of Taysom Hill. Wasn't the ideal situation. Overall, I think New Orleans kind of overpaid giving up their first-round pick to move up to get Chris Olave. But Chris Olave is so smooth. He's going to develop so well. He had 1,000 yards as a rookie. Both Olave and Wilson had great years, so I'm going to give them both grades of an A-. The number 12 overall pick now by Detroit, Jameson Williams, and I'm going to be nice and say a C-. So he ended up only recording 1 catch. I believe maybe 2 of his catches that he did have were called back or something due to holds. So his season stat line is 1 catch, like a 50-yard touchdown. It's incomplete. It's basically a C. He barely played. His season was completely dictated by recovering from that injury he suffered in the national championship last year. And I will say, what Detroit did in their war room when they celebrated New Orleans drafting Chris Olave, I think that was very ignorant. I really, if you guys look up that video, it was very ignorant. And honestly, it looks like Olave is going to be the better player. That's just my opinion. I'm going to give him a C-. Williams, we'll see how he is. He's a speedster, and he needs to get back to full strength, and you really can't judge him off of this year because he played so sparingly due to the injury. But I will say C- because he did drop a few passes there at the end of the regular season. Moving to the 13th overall pick, it's Jordan Davis. I'm going to say C-. This guy barely played, which is pretty. The number 13 overall pick, and this was Jordan Davis's problem in college. He would get tired really quickly. He might have played like 20% of the snaps for Philadelphia. This is the 13th overall pick. So I guess the jury is still out, but I do have concerns about his overall motor and him getting tired quickly. If you're only playing 30% of the snaps, I know Philadelphia has a good defense, but I would understand it if you're a second-round pick, maybe a late first-round pick. You're a top 15 pick. That's a little bit concerning in my opinion. Obviously, he's not going to have the greatest of stats. He's a big defensive tackle clogger. You're not going to get very many sacks or anything like that. But just in general, he didn't have many tackles either. So I'm going to say a C-. I think I'm being nice with that. Moving to number 14, the 14th overall pick, Kyle Hamilton. I thought this was an absolute steal by Baltimore. Yes, he struggled early, but he has come on and he is going to be an absolute stud in the NFL. I'm giving this a B+. Late in the season, he's really turned it around. Like a rookie, it just took him a few weeks to get his feet under him. He kind of went viral early on for having a few really bad games and not being on assignment. But Kyle Hamilton is built so well for a safety. He's rangy, he's athletic, he can hit you, he can tackle anyone. I love Kyle Hamilton. I think he was a top 5 player in the class, and I was shocked he fell to number 14, and now, late in the season, he finally showed it. he gets a B plus in terms of his rookie year. Moving to the 15th overall pick, it's Kenyon Green, the offensive guard from Texas A&M. So I'm going to give this one a D. I did not understand this pick. I thought it was a major reach at the time. And Green, in terms of his PFF grade, only did grade out to a 35 overall in a score, out of 100. So, drafting an offensive guard at number 15 is tough. They have to be really elite. And, you don't want to bury the kid because he is a rookie. I just don't like that pick by Houston at number 15 personally. And then at number 16, Jahan Dotson, the middle of the first round. I'm going to give it a B minus. What I see from Dotson, just the way he moves, I'm very intrigued. I think he's going to be a really good receiver in the NFL. The Commanders do have a few different weapons back there, so he was kind of battling for targets, and that's why his numbers weren't the greatest. And also, they don't have a great quarterback situation with Wentz and Heineke and Sam Howell playing the last game. We will see. But overall, Dotson really impressed me. He moves really fluid. He just looks like a future star receiver. So I'm going to say B minus. He had some big plays later on in the season, some big touchdowns, but also a little bit inconsistent, right around 600 yards. It can be expected for a rookie when you're, battling for targets with other receivers and other players. So, guys, that is 1 through 16, my overall grades on every single pick. In the next video, I'll do number 17 through 32. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.